Good morning, Lina-san, and thank you very much for joining in this conversation, in the build-up to Sushi Tech Tokyo 2026.
Yes.
Yeah. So you founded Fermentation, and Fermentation works at the intersection of biotechnology and sustainability using microorganisms to upcycle waste.
Mm.
What is the original insight that led you to build a business around fermentation and, the circular economy solutions?
Yeah, thank you for asking. It's kind of a funny story, but it goes back more than 20 years ago. I used to be in finance, doing like M&As or a project finance, supporting like energy projects, things like that. And then I started to realize the issue related to the climate change or how much the side streams or the food waste or the waste we are causing. Then one day I was watching television introducing the technology to turn food waste into energy or basically a new ingredients so that we can shift to do that the decarbonization. So that whole idea seems interesting to me. So I decided to quit finance and start to learn about the technology, and that's how ended up founding a fermentation, and now we are.
Right. So, moving from finance to biology or biotechnology, how was the learning curve? How did you manage that? I mean, did you bring on board some specialist in that sector or did you learn it by yourself? How do you go about it?
For the first more than few years, but it was all by myself. So I entered college again and learned like a basic biology, microorganisms, and did all the experiments, and even started a project to turn side streams into the ethanol, alcohol, the new ingredients. But time passed, and now we have a great team. So it really started to shift when we had our current CTO, Toshi Sugimoto. He's a ex Asahi Corporation, one of the largest the beer and spirits company. He's basically the microbiologist. So now he's in charge turning all the side streams using multiple microbes to into the functional ingredients.
Fermentation was the winner at the Sushi Tech Challenge in 2023. So, which was obviously a significant milestone for a startup in that sense. So, how did that recognition influence your company's growth in terms of the partnerships, visibility, and access to investors?
Oh yeah, thank you for asking. And definitely that really helped. And first, we started to be known a lot, resulted to the successful collaboration with large corporations. Right now, we do many paid POC with mainly food and beverage corporations, the Japanese corporations. And then it worked good for the hiring too. So we had some, now we have a great team, but some started to know us through the competition. And third, started to have more discussion with investors. So we are still doing the fundraising, but that really gave us a good impact. And of course,
And
sorry, the recognition not just only in Japan, but because the pitch was done in English, so started to hear more from out of Japan investors or the acceleration programs or the people searching for the collaboration.
has that led you to internationalize your operations? Do you have any presence now outside of Japan?
It's starting. So after that, for the past 2 years, actually we got the award money too. So the award money was 100% used for our search for the global expansion. So after that, we decided to focus on U.S. market first, and also the food and beverage ingredients. So we were at the trade shows and started to have conversation with the potential customers, which is going to happen more because it's separate from Sushi Tokyo event itself, but actually Tokyo Metropolitan Government just started a project called Sushi Global. And they picked startups that they think promising, especially in the global expansion sense. And we were a part of the selected as one of the global startups. And also they offered the fund of about 200 million yen, which is about 1.04 US dollars million. So it's a good amount of money that we can use for the global expansion coming 18 months. So it's been really helpful. And all the shift, everything started from the winning the pitch.
when you say internationalization, so over the next 18 months, I mean, where do you plan to expand? Which are the which are the markets, or what exactly is the plan?
Yeah, and it's definitely going to be U.S. market for the food and beverage industry because they definitely is the need for natural derived ingredients. The people start to look more of that the back of the products, and also it has to be healthy and functional. And of course, there's the issue related to the food security too. So our technology that can make the functional, healthy ingredients without using any petrol-derived ingredients and also made from side streams, it makes sense because it can achieve and solve multiple issues at the same time.
Can you talk a little bit about your model? I mean, it kind of transforms unused biomass into high value ingredients. So how do you see this whole, fermentation process reshaping the economics of waste and resource mobilization or utilization globally?
Yeah, thank you. First, let me give you a brief introduction about technology itself. So it always starts with the side streams. And we are super good with all, we have experience, it's all kinds of side streams because we independently work a lot with large food and beverage companies. And we have experience dealing with all those things already. So we can make good use of like a bran, rice bran or the wheat bran or the soy residue or the spent coffee ground, all kinds of foods residue or the veggies, the cores of the cabbage or onion skins, all sorts of things. So we are good with that. And then we have this thing called enzyme database and the microbe library and also fermented compounds, fermented products library. So we pick the best enzyme and the best microbes out from the database in order to make the ingredients that our customers want. So usually the customers is searching for something, of course, that tastes good. And sometimes they have to shift from artificial flavor to the natural flavor. But it cannot, sometimes the taste is too simple or is not enough compared from the conventional real food. But because of our fermentation technology using multiple microbes at the same time, it gives diverse, like deep flavor, the complexity, add the complexity also to the final ingredients. So our customers can use for the drinks or the food and soups and cookies or cakes and all sorts of things. So that's the basic of our technology. And not only the lab, but we also do have a factory running in place already. So it could be the one-stop shop. And business model is right now about maybe half of the revenue. We are making revenue, and half is coming from doing the paid POC. But phase to shift only providing the POC, but also the ingredients. So actually, if you come to Japan, there are more than few products that you can buy that include our ingredients that came as a result of paid POC. So the revenue comes from both sides, doing the paid POC, and also selling the ingredients. But because we are starting to hear more and more, the demand for the clean label and the healthy ingredients, so we are trying to expand that, selling the ingredients part only. So it's, especially for US right now, what we are thinking is we want to be regarded as the B2B new ingredient provider. Also, maybe you need some examples what kind of ingredients that we make. So among many interesting things, one is definitely, I happen to have this with me right now, but this is it's coming in the shape of powder. It could be liquid, but this is a fermented rice bran. And what it does is, even though this is rice bran, it gives the deep milky taste and flavor. And that could be, of course, the additives to the additional ingredients for the non-dairy products, but end up having like a deep milky flavor and taste. Or it also gives umami or kokumi. So instead of using some artificial the additives, customers can add this to the soup or the food to give deeper the taste.
Right.
So this is the kind of things that we are doing right now.
Yeah. So this can be a kind of a important ingredient for veganism. I mean, for vegan, because since you said it has a milky kind of texture, but it is obviously not milk. So I
No,
think
no.
widely used in vegan cooking, maybe.
Yeah, it could definitely be our potential market. Last year we were at the trade show in US, and that was one of the interests that we got from the market. But also, you might be aware there aren't much on the vegan market in Japan. But the fact that still we're getting interest is some may relate it to the, the price going, the butter or the price of the milk going up, or unstable supply chain, or even aside from that, they want natural ingredients that gives the deeper flavor in the kokumi, like not MSG, but could be an alternative to that as well.
Actually, I mean, you touched upon a bit, but in practical terms, what industries stand to benefit the most from your technology, and where are you already seeing strong commercial traction?
Right now, it's definitely food and beverage industry. We are talking with the large corporations and brand searching for the non-petrol ingredients that could be used, one, flavor, and two, something to add more deeper aroma and the taste. But actually, we've been doing a lot with cosmetics so far too, and we are still doing that. So cosmetic industry could also benefit from us too.
In terms of cost, in compared to artificial additives, how do these additives, I mean, how do you compare it? I mean, is it more expensive to use these kind of, natural additives compared to artificial ones?
Um, yeah, right now at this moment, slightly yes, but it's manageable because, for example, our flavor is used in the ready-to-drink alcohol sold almost anywhere in Japan, and it's not expensive at all. It's sold at a reasonable price. And it was possible because our ingredients really strong. The percentage that they use in the products itself can be really low. So it's manageable. But in order to expand more, there will definitely be the cost issue. But technically, we can scale almost anytime. So it's really how we get the demand. So if we can get lots of orders, it could be easily be lower because right now it's actually really the amount of the size of the tank. So, and actually the total cost doesn't change much. So if we can allowed to make more, the cost will be less and we can sell more reasonable prices. But right now we don't see that as the largest issue. And also the good thing about us is we are good with side streams, food waste, meaning actually there are plenty, and also we are buying those, but at the really low cost. So actually, using the side stream is, as far as you have the technology, can be a really good, way to get the ingredients, and we think it makes economically sense to do this.
Typically, where do you procure your food waste from? I mean, is this from I don't know, I mean, from vegetable markets, or is this from restaurants and eateries? I mean, where does it come from?
Yeah, we only work with the food and beverage corporations. So all the side streams come from after it's coming through the manufacturing process. Some come from like a agricultural process, but it's always a process, and we work with the corporations. And we don't do like the hotels or the restaurants or the house residues. It's unstable. So that's how we source. So our customers can also be our partner. So for example, like making juice or the alcohol drinks or all the foods. So there's the stable the pretty large amount of the side streams that they have.
So, when it comes to sustainability, obviously circular economy solutions are increasingly seen as critical to achieve climate goals. So, how significant is the role of biotechnology, particularly fermentation, in reducing emissions and resource waste?
Yeah, I think that the fermentation technology and the biotechnology itself could give a huge impact and positive impact to this issue. One is the technology can add values, not just recycle, but not just simply to reduce the amount or force corporations to use for different purposes like fertilizer or the feed when it may not really be working good. But if you use biotechnology or the fermentation, it always gets better, right? So sometimes we say like that our residue, is always better than the simple residue. So, for example, we take the apple residue, the pomace. There's apple, they squeeze and make juice for the cider, right? And if you simply dry it, you might be able to use it for different purposes. But by using microbes, the microbes dissolves and change the structure so that it could be easier to digest. Or by you adding few multiple microbes, it gives different functionalities. It might end up giving the better flavor or the complexity or kokumi or even health benefits. Like it might be able to make something like antioxidant or might be able to reduce fat, or it could be something that's definitely going to be good for your gut health. So it's always something happens if you use microbes. So not just dealing with the bunch of waste, it also gives the benefits. And all these new ingredients actually could be the replacement of the conventional ingredients that's being made using all the energy or the nature resources. So I think the fermentation technology in general could be like it's like killing few birds in one stone kind of solution.
So, have you also started kind of measuring your carbon credits or something like that? Because obviously, this is an area which is of interest, in today's whole sustainability environment. So, have you been doing that as well?
Yeah, yes, yes. We have the social impact team and also been working with the Tokyo University, the LCA analysis and research, and the outcomes should come soon. But our technology can support in multiple ways. One is to rescue from burning or dealing with the side streams that might be causing methane. But also the ingredients that we make could be is being a replacement for for example, petrol derived the flavor. And also things like this, if this could be used at large as a alternative to the daily products, we also think it could benefit rescuing the all the carbon footprint.
Carbon emission.
Yeah, emission, yes.
So, historically, Japan has had very strong capabilities in science and research, but scaling startups and particularly biotech startups can be quite challenging. What has been your experience in building and commercializing this kind of innovation within the Japanese ecosystem?
As a startup, we still see a big challenge, especially in the fundraising, because there are investors, of course, but it's still starting. And so compare from startups, for example, in US or in Europe, the amount of money that we are getting tend to be smaller. So that has been always a challenge for the past few years, I think. But the good thing about us is the many deep tech startups have been also working with the Japanese corporations, and we also do the paid POC. So that fund could also benefit from that fund to make the technology and ready to scale. So it's good and bad, but I think there's always the issue of the amount of money that we get beforehand. And also, I don't see many Japanese startups going, out of Japan yet. But I'm pretty sure that it will increase more because for the past 2, 3 years, the Japanese government and JETRO, JETRO, and also Tokyo Metropolitan Government had been offering us so much of the program to support us to go see to be at the trade show or to do pitches, and I think the outcomes should come soon, like us maybe.
Right. So what stops Japanese startups from accessing international markets? Is it a historical thing, or is it more to do with language or exposure? I mean, what is it?
I personally think the language is being one of the big barrier challenges. Because really, there are many startups that's doing great. The technology is there, and also the readiness. I have chances to talk with international startups too, and we see read the articles and how good they're doing and stuff like that. But now looking at both Japanese startups and international out of the startups, I don't see much change. But there should be more opportunities, right? And Japanese startups should be noticed. But the reason it's not happening is a lot coming from the language issues. Not many like funders are able to still do like pitch in English, or like management people, or even investors too. But with the help of I think that could be solved very soon.
Right.
Yeah.
So, in terms of investor interest, I mean, do you see more investor interest coming from outside of Japan, or investors within Japan, as far as you are concerned?
Um, we get interest from both, but especially in our field, the need for the clean label in the ingredients, or the search for the non-petrol ingredients, or the decarbonization and all stuff like that. Out of Japan, if I do pitches like in Europe or in US, it's easily regarded as the business that will make money, right? But in Japan, still, there are people who think it's related to like sustainability and like goodwill. Of course, there's the goodwill, but sometimes I have to persuade people that it's the promising market. The market is there, but out of Japan, I don't see that. So I feel it's easier to do the communication out of Japan in general. Yeah. But it doesn't mean that it's easier to do fundraising with international investors, because no, of course the laws are is different, and there are many cases yet, right? I hope Fermentation could be the startup that could solve all these issues, get all the bias out. Yeah.
As a female founder in a science-driven industry, what has been your experience navigating Japan's startup ecosystem? Has gender really come into picture? And are you seeing any changes in terms of inclusion and support?
As a fact, there are so few female founders in general in Japan, not just technology based, but in general. But it gets worse when it comes to technology related or the deep tech area. It's very few. This should definitely be the challenge, right? But also at the same time, because if people who think this should be solved, so I also get the support as a female entrepreneur. There are multiple programs to support female entrepreneurs run by like Ernst& Young, or the Deloitte Tomas, or the Tokyo Metropolitan Government. So it's been pretty helpful, but still, I think it's not enough. You do the pitches, and it's it happens a lot that I'm the only female there, and also the amount of investor, the capitalist, it's still few. But I see the change. Yeah, I notice like the gathering of female capitalists, or lots of support in organizations too. But I don't think it's enough.
So what can be done? I mean, why are women not getting interested in startups or founding their own? Because one of the contrarian views that I heard was, given some of the toxic corporate culture, startups probably provide a much more relaxed or better working environment for women in that sense. So what's really stopping? I mean, how? Because I also spoke to somebody else, and they were saying that at a national startup challenge in Tokyo, there were some 15 startups and all were led by males. So there was not a single female-led startup in the competition. I think last year, I think. So what can be done to attract more women to, basically launch their own startups or try out this method and get into entrepreneurship?
Even though the number is small, to show the world that they are the female entrepreneurs or that the people working in startup in Japan as well. So I personally take that as one of my responsibility too. So I think it's still really important that I go out and let people see me. But I think if only females change the mindset, it doesn't mean anything, right? So basically, I see a lot of boys club happening. Of course, in the large corporations, but at large corporations, people are starting to be educated, so they kind of starting to know, even though they think that it's much better, easier when it's only guys, but they know that they're not supposed to say that. Whether they think or not, I don't know what they're really thinking, but they're not allowed to say that anymore, right? And no, for the promotion or any kind of when corporations make decisions, they are required to take that into consideration, right? But in startup in general, it's not happening yet. No, we don't get much pressure, right? So basically, I think the boys' club is worse. I've never said this in public before, but so it's still tough for female to get into that. And I was always thinking that I don't really need to go in there and be independent. But still, by looking slightly at the boys' club thing, I also started to notice that's how they get information. Exchange ideas, getting advice, how you should communicate with investors or how you can do all sorts of things. I think startups ecosystems should also be aware, should get more pressure, that they should consider that too. Yeah, there are
So
some
there
even
are,
that had that kind of mindset too, but
what you're saying is that, I mean, there's a lack of role models for women, I mean, in this particular area in Japan.
yeah, I think so. There are too few. And when the number is too few, people always find excuses to think they were too special and they're different, right? So I was like that too. I myself, even though I was at the large corporations in financial institutions, and I I think I should have thought that I'm enough. You know, I sh- I had the ability to try IPO or to say I want to scale my company, but I didn't feel that way at all. Maybe 10 years ago. And it started to change slightly by looking at the people or hearing from others that no, you have the right. You can do this. You are no different from other the boys founders. And we see some female founder who really succeeded. But at the same time, we hear too much that, oh, but she's so different. No, she's from like a rich family, or she's like different, or she's exactly like man, or kind of. There's always the side streets coming from that. But if it's man, there's always multiple stories, right? We know the shy guy could succeed, or the really the kind of guy could succeed. We know multiple cases, but for female, because we don't see many cases, I feel that we are made to think that only, oh, maybe she's different, but I'm not kind of attitude. So I really want to change that. Yeah.
So in this regard, how do you think, platforms like Sushi Tech can bring together startups, corporates, policymakers? I mean, will that kind of will such platforms help in changing that scenario in terms of, advancing more startups, more entrepreneurial culture within the system, both men and women?
Yeah, I think so. I've been participating in Sushi Tech, and also there's the pre-event like Sushi Tech before the year before too, and I see a really good big changes every year. So, last year we had more international participants. I'm seeing in more people coming. And also, when there's too many international people coming, there are cases that the Japanese people stop coming. So, it really has to be both, right? But this year, I'm thinking like both participants. The cystic challenge is regarded as not only a pitch event who can speak English, but also like the general thing that you should target. So that's good. And also the corporations and the investors and also the good investors are there too. So I'm seeing a big challenge and people talk a lot. So now I hear a lot that are you going to cystic, and many say that yeah, of course. So I hope that could be like push to change the whole culture.
So, if you were to describe the future of circular economy innovation to a global audience as Sushi Tech Tokyo, what would it be? Present it.
Yeah, it's definitely a must technology and the business in order for us to keep on living, keep on having a healthy life, the happy life in general for everybody, not just for somebody, not only for like wealthy people, but this technology or the concept of the circularity, all this should be beneficial for everybody, right? So it's definitely a must. And we only see the future few years ahead. So that's where the new thing starts, right?
So, what are your expectations from this year's Sushi Tech? What are you looking forward to?
No, I see a larger challenge right now globally relating to the all the issues, the security, geographic things, and also political stuff. And I see a big challenge in the conflict. And people may even say like, you don't need to think about sustainability or diversity, everything. But I don't believe that. But at the same time, there's still large amount of people believing in the new technology and the ways to solve all issues. So Sushitech is where all these people come and get together. So first I want people to know us because I seriously think that our technology could be one of the solutions. Last year I went to the event called Change Now in Palace. That was the event was called Solutions for the Planet, and I really love the community. And I think Sushtek could also be something like that. And I talk a lot with the Tokyo Metropolitan Government people organizing the Sushtek and also introduce the concept too. And I think they're taking that too. So I like to let people know us and also get more good connections so that we can expand our ideas and we can get these ideas. And it's always nice to meet somebody who shared same kind of feeling, right? So I'm so excited for being there.
Wonderful, Lina. Thank you very much for spending the time and having this conversation. It was very insightful.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I hope to see you in person in Tokyo next week.
Yes, and we also have a booth there, so I'm gonna do a pitch, and also Fermentation will be at the Sushtek Global Challenge, Sushtek Global booth. So
Wonderful. So I'll see you there.
okay,
Yeah. Thank you very much.
thank you.